Blessed love, brothers and sisters. This is not a Shabbat lesson. It's an impromptu video. Right? I'm going to title it Whiddy Speaking the Truth. Whiddy telling the truth, brothers and sisters. Whiddy telling the truth. Right? So you know how I like to do. I like to put it in context with scripture, but I want to say something before I give you the scripture, brothers and sisters. So you see, the reason why I title is Whiddy telling the truth, right, is because they are exposing themselves. You see, brothers and sisters. You know, there's one thing, you know, in life. You could run from everything else, but you cannot run from your conscience and your mind. Because anywhere you go, your mind's going to follow you. You understand? And it's conviction. The Most High is convicting them in the mind, in the soul, right? Of all the wickedness they have done unto us, children of Israel, right? Because I have to keep reiterate this over and over. Our history did not start with slavery. It is a part of it. You understand? Our history, our culture, our language is in the scriptures. It started with the scriptures, brothers and sisters. You understand? But because of our continual disobedience and loving our enemy and choosing their ways, this is the final result. You understand? Black female champion this feminist movement and got hoodwinked from the white feminists. They abandoned you. You know, they cause you to hate your black men. We came out of slavery together as a family unit, man, woman, and child, and we progressed for a while, man, woman, and child, right? Until you buy into the bull of feminist movement, and I don't need no man movement, an independent movement, right? That's what you did, right? You women, black women, and most of you effeminate black men support the alphabet team. You see, right? You abandon nuclear family. You abandon the Most High Yahuwah and his whole son Yahusha and his laws, commandments, and statutes which was governing us in those hard chattel slavery times. Because we came here by force and we kept our name, we had our name, and we know who we are until it was forcefully beaten out of us. Right? We could not read. Right? Every time we pick up a book, we got this, we got that. Why is it that they didn't want to read then? Huh? Because how do we know how to read their language then? You see? If we don't know how to read their language, then no, let's say their language because we came with our language. We know how to read our language. English is not our natural language. Yes, I mean? Had we know how to read their language then, we would have seen ourselves in the scriptures. And we would have known why these things are happening to us. And what we need to do to come back to the Most High, through the Mashiach, and keeping his laws, commandments, and statutes, so he could subdue our enemies. Do you understand, brothers and sisters? So he could subdue our enemies. The scripture said, love not. The scripture says, envy though not your oppressor, and choose none of his ways. We steady choose his way. We steady divest it. We steady run into the white man team, or the Asian team, or the Chinese team, the Spanish team, and abandon your own team, the black man. You buy into this homosexual agenda, lesbian agenda, transvestite agenda. And all these things are created and given to you to destroy us further. and fulfilling what Deuteronomy talks about, the curses that rightfully and justly put upon us because of our stiff-necked ways. Do you understand? We have multiple issues. We have a God issue. You make the white man tell you who your God is. You make the white man tell you how to worship. And on what day you're supposed to worship. You understand? You let the white man tell you all type of things about the scriptures. But he gave you every single other book and you accept that. You will spend 4, 5, 6 years studying the script, studying their history books. And back not one eye or even would think to question those books. But you have the nerve to sit there and question the Most High and His word. And you see His word fulfilled every day in Yisrael. In Yisrael. You see, the white man is telling you every day that they don't like you. They tell you, they show you in their laws. They show you physically with their cops. But yet still you're continually going over to them and seeking validation from them. They don't like you. They tell you that. When will you wake up? When will you stop finding issues with the commandments of the Most High and look within yourself and ask yourself, what is your issue? Because the Most High didn't change. Yahuwah did not change. He's the same today and forever. He's unchangeable. It's you humans. You stiff-necked Yisrael. Hebrews, so-called black people, continually change at the weather. 1 minute you're hot, next minute you're cold. 1 minute you're warm, next minute you're lukewarm. Make your mind up. The scripture said, choose ye this day whom shall you serve, God or Mammon. Elohim or Mammon. Yahuwah or Mammon, brothers and sisters. What you gonna choose? The Most High created man first. Right? He created him with a set of values. Internal moral value. It has nothing to do with materialistic. He created Adam with internal moral values, right? And give him his laws, commandments, and statutes. Verbal laws, so the law wasn't written yet, but verbal law nonetheless is a command from the Most High, right? So in the eyes of the Most High, if you keep the commandments, you are valuable. The Most High don't place value with materialistic things. That's an additional blessing, but that's not the core value of man. The value of an upright, just, and righteous man, a man that fears the Most High, is what? Keeping the commandments. By you keeping the commandments of the Most High, you in turn, right, act out the eternal values of the Most High. You see, you are valuable. You are valuable without materialistic. Don't get me wrong, you need money in this modern world. I need material like house, a car, and so forth like that. But why can't both male and female come together as a unit? Why can't both of you pull your resources and come together and build? And knowing that the man is the head of that house, regardless. You see how foolish you podcasters out there are? You base men off their materialistic. So I've asked you this question: what happened when the Most High decided to take that materialistic from you? Are you not valuable? Are you not valuable? If your materialistic things is taken away today, your money, your car, your house, are you not valuable? Change your ways, brothers and sisters. Come together as a unit. You understand? come together as a unit. Alright? Let's go into the scriptures, and then after the scriptures, watch what Whiddy said about what their family did with us during chattel slavery. Blessed Lord. Okay, brothers and sisters, this is the scripture that I put in context concerning the video you're about to see, brothers and sisters. Proverbs 3, I'm going to take it from 31 to 35 from 1611 King James. Right? Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. For the forward is abomination to Yahweh, but his secret is with the righteous. The curse of Yahweh is in the house of the wicked, but he blessed the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools. You see, brothers and sisters, envy though not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Stiff-necked Yahshua keep doing that. Want to look like the oppressor, want to choose their ways in form of religion, right? In form of culture, form of identity. You understand? And that's your downfall, because you reject the Most High in your heart. Therefore, the Most High will reject you and thy children for being priests unto him, brothers and sisters. Wake up. Wake up. Proverbs 3, 31 to 35. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. For the forward is abomination to Yahweh, but his secret is with the righteous. The curse of Yahweh is in the house of the wicked, but he blessed the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools. And rightfully so. Blessed Lord.
Speaking about Biter, Texas, now anybody that live, in, the area of, East Texas, for sure, I grew up in Port Arthur, Texas. We all knew about Biter. We knew Biter wasn't the place to be. We knew Biter was a place that white supremacy is king, and it was definitely a sundown town. We all knew that. We knew that if we, wanted to drive on the road, don't stop at no gas stations or nothing in Biter, stay on I-10, because most of us would go to Louisiana for something, right? So fill up your vehicle in Beaumont and then go your way on I-10. Don't stop. But this woman's going to detail the things that she knew of what was going on with even people that, in her family, that what it was doing to black people and that was around there in Biter. Let's go ahead and roll that.
When I tell you it was heinous, I'm going to have to be careful how I word this so that I don't get in trouble, but I think it needs to be said because I am sick and tired of hearing people say that people of color just need to get over it already because it was so long ago. No, it wasn't. My father remembers his father raising hunting dogs that he would rent out on the weekend for hunting parties, only these weren't regular hunting parties. These big bubbas would set up these almost lemonade type stands during the week and sell these little cards for like, I don't know, a nickel, 25 cents. They were person of color hunting licenses. And everyone who bought one during the week, they would gather together on the weekend with all their trucks and they would round up as many people of color in the surrounding areas as they could find, turn them loose in the woods and set the dogs after them. There are people alive today whose family were hunted down in the woods by dogs, and they raised their children to have a well-earned distrust of white people and of police officers, because I guarantee you any of the police officers that weren't wearing the hoods were turning a blind eye. This town, Biter, Texas, at one time I believe was known as the most racist city in the United States. It was a sundown town. They had a billboard that said, person of color, don't let the sun set on your anyone who was not white knew you don't drive through Whiddy after dark. Even truckers would avoid that route if they weren't 100% certain that they could make it through before sundown, because God forbid they had a blowout or some sort of mechanical trouble in Whiddy, Texas after dark, because they had citizens and police officers patrolling looking for them. If you were in Whiddy, Texas after dark and you were not white, you probably wouldn't be seen again, or at least you wouldn't be seen in one piece. It's hard for me to talk about. The library sold t-shirts with rifles across it that said, "People of color, we're ready for you." The Klan marched down Main Street openly and with full support of the municipalities and the people until 1985. 1985.
Now folks they know exactly what their families have done. They probably didn't do anything, but their families have done things. They know. And they hide that very well. They don't want to say nothing. That's why they don't want even the history spoken about. This is why they came out talking about critical race theory. Ooh, don't talk about the history. Because they don't want nobody to know they crap. Because they got to keep the lie going that they're some sort of moralistic people, or the beacons of hope and all of that. You can't keep that when people know your history. They're going to say, what you talking about? Look what you did to black people. Look what you done to them. These are black Americans they were rounding up and hunting them in the woods. That's why I told y'all, when you really study American history, and we're talking about American history, we're not talking about revisionist history. We're not talking about this, this current thing of this, stopping certain books or being in schools. There's no different than Nazi Germany. They didn't want certain books, so they burned the books. That's the exact same thing. But the thing is, the burning of the books worked during the time of Hitler, but it don't work today because we have the internet.